Good evening. I want to start tonight by sharing a story. About 4 years ago, a hardworking single mother was preparing to watch her son graduate from high school and head off to college. This was a turning point in her life, as she would soon be an empty nester. Her life had always revolved around her career and her son. She worked in the project controls department of a major utility in the Chicago area as a contractor for almost 10 years. She was well paid and had capitalized on opportunities for growth within the consulting company that she worked for, but always worked on site with the customer. All seemed good except she was facing a big change and decided that now was as good a time as any to make a change in her life. She quickly changed employer and began consulting for the parent company of the utility she left for another utility that they had recently acquired in the Baltimore area. She was contracted to set up a project control similar to the one she had just left. For almost a year, she traveled every week from her home in Chicago to Baltimore. And when her mission was accomplished in Baltimore, her company found a position for her in Chicago. Even though she was almost immediately, she began to think about the utility in Baltimore and missed it. She had seen a glimpse of what it felt like to work for a company that seemed to care about its employees. Sure, her current employer took care of her, but as she always worked on site, she felt disconnected from the company culture and all the company offerings. In Baltimore, employees were onboarded with thorough and complete processes, consistently provided feedback on a minimum of a biannual basis, provided company goals that showed how they could contribute toward meeting them. And people seemed to enjoy their work, going above and beyond to achieve results. She soon realized that she had to be a part of that. She quickly applied for a position in the department that she had just assembled, interviewed, and was offered a job in Baltimore. Sure, the position would be a step back career-wise, and the pay was not as good as that of a consultant, not to mention that she would have to move from Chicago to Baltimore. But none of that was as important as feeling part of something, so she did it. That person was me, and what I was yearning for and eventually found was employee engagement. Employee engagement is defined many ways by many different sources, but what it boils down to is employees that are committed to a company and the work that they do. Employee engagement involves positive emotional reactions to the work and the company, the good kind of reactions. By default, employees are deeply involved in the concept of employee engagement. However, companies also reap many benefits. Effective employee engagement programs should be part of every company's business strategy, as it results in more connected employees that in turn creates higher employee retention, greater profits, and increased customer satisfaction, all of which affect the bottom line. Not all engaged employees stay, and not all disengaged employees leave. It is as simple as that. The concept of employee engagement cannot be to retain every employee, nor can it be to convert all that are disengaged. It's just not possible. With that said, an effective employee engagement program can make the difference for a great many of employees and their overall effect on the organization. A recent Gallup article describes three types of employees with respect to engagement. Those that are engaged are involved, enthusiastic about, and committed to their work and workplace. Not engaged employees are generally satisfied, but not as cognitively and emotionally connected to their work or their workplace. They will usually show up to work and do the minimum required, but will quickly leave their company for a slightly better offer. And actively disengaged employees are those that have miserable work experiences. Higher employee engagement and lower active engagement contributes in many meaningful ways to companies' overall success. Organizations that excel in engaging employees enjoy 4 times the earnings per share growth as their competitors. When compared to businesses lower in the employee engagement rankings, higher engagement ranking businesses realized substantially better customer engagement, higher productivity, better retention, fewer accidents, and 21% higher profitability. Engaged workers also report better health outcomes. On the other hand, about 67% of employees are considered not engaged or are actively disengaged, and are oftentimes morale killers for the rest of the team or the organization. One of the risks of a disengaged attitude is that it will spread to other employees, even those currently engaged, and affect the company's overall culture negatively. Disengaged employees, or simply any that are not engaged, whether actively so or not, also impose financial burdens on organizations. Lost productivity, reduced customer engagement, excess absenteeism, theft, and safety incidents all affect the bottom line. Another watch area for disengaged employees is employee turnover. Unhappy and disengaged employees can cost a company thousands and even millions of dollars annually due to increased turnover. Deloitte Consulting principal Josh Bersin itemized costs associated with employee turnover in his LinkedIn article, Employee Retention Now a Big Issue, Why the Tide is Turning. According to Bersin, many studies show that the total cost of losing an employee can range from tens of thousands of dollars to 1.5 to 2 times an annual salary. Not all costs are monetary. Bersin urges consideration of real costs associated with employee turnover. In consideration of both the results of employee engagement and employee non-engagement, the Gallup figures in the chart attached from a 2016 meta-analysis research paper compares top quartile with bottom quartile engagement business units. The percentages shown represent the differences between the two. The results are quantifiable. So what are the keys to an effective employee engagement process? Many companies start out with good intentions with respect to recognizing the importance of employee satisfaction, but often get caught up in the idea that, hey, I'm paying them, therefore they should always do their best and look out for the company. What is in it for the employees, though? The basic goods and services relationship does not work with respect to employee-employer relationships. A quick way to disengage an employee is to treat them as if they are simply a service that you are paying for. Employees today require more than a paycheck to become engaged, productive, innovative, company cheerleaders, and loyal. They truly need to see what is in it for them and that their leaders are listening and walking the walk. Employee engagement means and methods are as varied as the organizations that they are a part of. There is no one-size-fits-all with respect to employee engagement. John Bersin's article, Becoming Irresistible, a New Model for Employee Engagement, provides insight and guidance on ways to improve employee engagement by providing meaningful work, hands-on management, a positive work environment, opportunities for growth, and trustworthy leadership. Employee engagement will not be effective if thought of only as an HR function or something that happens overnight. Employee engagement depends on long-term, full organizational support. Although employee engagement is widely considered a key business strategy in today's business world, there are some that question its effectiveness and whether the return on investment is truly there. One chief human resources officer who published an article on LinkedIn that identified potential problems with a strong focus on employee engagement expressed concerns regarding the measurability of employee engagement, placing too much faith in statistics, and the time and costs associated with implementing and maintaining an employee engagement program. Pushback regarding time and cost seem to drive much of the resistance, and understandably so. Since under most definitions you are dealing with feelings and emotional attachment, it may take years of using the most effective approaches in order to permanently increase the score. This is according to the CFO that was interviewed. Those years may correlate to significant additional costs for the company. Aside from the actual cost of the survey, employee time spent taking the survey, interpreting the results, creating action plans, and implementing the plan across the organization, they're all huge time and financial considerations. Although concerns regarding employee engagement programs are real, looking at the bigger picture can provide more clarity regarding the overall value of employee engagement. With unemployment at an all-time low, recruiting and retaining valuable employees is a priority at most organizations. Engaged employees stay with companies that respect them and provide opportunities for full employee engagement to occur. They also become spokespeople for the company to other valuable employees looking for opportunities to be valued and engaged. Employee engagement programs have proven results that benefit not only employees but businesses as well. Employees gain respect from and for the companies that they support, which is reflected in what they give back to the organization. By engaging employees, businesses benefit from increased productivity, less employee turnover, high customer satisfaction, and larger bottom lines. It's basically a win-win.